Good morning, everybody. This is Pete Dahlgren. We're building the Mirrors Models F86. I am doing a lot of filling and a lot of sanding, and I've had a couple questions about this, and so we're going to go and review over what the Canopy is doing while we're waiting for some of this stuff to kick, and it looks like it's just doing it. So basically, what I'm doing is I need to do this while we're talking, and so basically what I'm doing here now is I'm actually trimming that out. Now basically what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm getting my Canopy ready to start getting some other things done with it and this and that. But I needed to get this, I needed to get that edge right. And it was a little buggered up. Got a little bit on here, no big deal. But as you can see, guys, just a little bit more tweaking and it does open and close. And I've talked about my lineal actuators and what I'm going to use. Now, I have not gone and finished cutting a lot of this stuff out because of this, and this is a little trick I do here. And I will repeat this process on the other side. But this little dirty trick right there is a mold, and I used a simple piece of masking tape, and that gives me that channel for that all to sit back in. I got very minor sanding to do on that, but there's a lot of good ideas out there for doing this stuff. And then I got to start working on getting the alignment pins and everything else in it. I'm going to do all that today. But what I want to do today is get this piece looking good. And I just Bondo. And it's very thick on there right now because I want to get this blended in, because on the airplane I looked at up close and personal, it looked pretty good. And you'll notice I put a lot more than I needed on there. I'm not worried about it. It sands off. It's not all that thick. But anyway, I've been blending all of this in to get all this to blend. And I think it looks pretty good. But got a little bit more sanding to do on it. Nothing serious. This is before. Now, if you're doing a sliding canopy on these and you're building the frame that I did, it's probably way overkill, but to me it just made more sense to do it because I'm going to be putting a lot of detail inside there. And so I've got a lot of dremeling to do. Now, before I cut, I left just enough. I gave myself plenty of room in here, but I wanted to have a lot more rigidity in this, so I left quite a bit of it in. I won't cut this out for quite a while until I'm ready to start fitting windows and things like that. And again, this is just something that I saw. There's a little bit more fill. You can see a little bit more sanding actually. That's really thick right there. But basically when you look at it from the front, that's the way it's supposed to look. Now that's a big booger right there, and I'll sand it off, no big deal. It's just a really screwed up area without ruining all the detail. Now, you'll notice I sanded a lot of the paint off of that, of the canopy frame itself. And getting this to line up is not necessarily an issue. But what I'm doing here now is making sure that I have alignment pins so that when that does slide in, that it does look right. And I do want this just slightly lower. And it's just so the air goes over, it doesn't catch it and pull it off. It won't, but there's no point in taking a chance of it. So basically I'm kind of hated going and taking Magoo and throwing his beautiful work apart, but it's just, if you look at it real close, I love his work. It's beautiful. But for what we're doing here with this particular airplane, it's just a bit rougher than I'd like it to be. And I will add new details to it, and I want certain things to actually work in here. So I'm getting all this. There's a lot of carving yet. I'm just about ready to cut this out. This is just, again, this was a brace to keep this from going, but guys, this thing is extremely stout. Now when I put it in, I floated 30-minute epoxy and let it dry overnight, and then I bonded over the seam of it to get this over. It's just body filler. Any kind that you want to use will work. I prefer the Bondo Gold for heavy duty things, and then I use the Dynatron. It's like Evercoat. It's just a spotting putty. And this is just all work prior to getting the primer, and I would like to get all that done in primer because I'm going to be detailing that. But there is one major line in here that is right here that is a perfect 90-degree line, and it's very important that this one is here. And this is why sanding a lot of these details out was kind of a really mixed emotion right there, let me tell you, because McGrew did do a beautiful job on these parts. Now I'm going to come back, I'm going to block these out just a little bit with 220, and I did notice a couple little spots, so I just want just a little bit nicer, and it's right over here, and I don't want to see the bend in the canopy. I want this line to come out just a little bit more. It's not a huge problem. It's not that he missed it. It's just he went exacting to the drawings that he had, and he just did an absolutely beautiful job. And his work is amazing, guys. But these little bits of this and that, and a little bit of flashing and that, for what I'm gonna do, is just too much of the awesome weathering that he does. It's just too much for my liking. You know, for you guys that are not building a competition jet, I mean, it's not a huge issue or problem. But I do want this to have a lot of details, and I will be putting the mirror sets details in this, and they will look just amazing. You know, so I want to emphasize, I didn't do this because I didn't like it. I did this because it's not my I am one that I want to see more, not necessarily perfect, but I want to add the details in this particular piece and this on here for mine. So just think of it more of a coalition between two good builders that are out there that are wanting to make something even better. And this was just my thought, and as you can see, this works really nice. And once it has the rest of it in, which we will cover later, this is exciting. So that's the look I wanted, and it will come back a little bit further than that, not by much, but by looking at this, you'll see why I just decided that I needed a little bit more of that, not to look, I don't want this to look like an Air World. I do not want this to look like a Tomahawk. I want it better in any way, shape I can get it. I want it to be as awesome as it is because, well, we build it. So everything that's in this is an interpretation. I did get my my speed brakes kind of reconfigured. They are the right size now. And a little bit of sanding, and we'll start doing some glassing in here. I got a little bit more body work to do in that. Not much, but it's still pretty dusty in there. But anyway, I got it, and I got them actually looking really good. A little bit more fill in there, but they are right now. So, and we'll go over a little bit more on that. Took a little bit of fill on that side, but that's okay. I mean, we're building a quarter scale. We're not building a a lightweight plane and we've got a lot of power to play with. So there's little bits on this that, yes, they do need to be very well thought out of, and this and that. You are adding some weight, not a lot. But again, guys, the weight on this airplane right now is right at about 12 pounds. It's not gaining a lot of weight. It will very shortly, and that's with the empennage on and everything installed. So we're still shooting for a 40-pound airplane. And right now, we're pretty much on target. As long as it doesn't go over 50, no worries. So my original thought on this, even though it's a 36-kilogram airplane, the way it was built, I figured I'd be putting one closer to 50 pounds. So that was my whole thing, was to, my whole intention was to have a 50-pound airplane because of all the things that are going in it. And again, we got a lot more going on, but I will not, until I'm ready to prime this and get everything done, and all this tweaking and sanding and any possibility of breaking it, I will leave every bit of this flashing on here until I'm there, and then I will cut it even closer, and then I will sand it out with 220 on the edge. It sounds extremely fast, and just to keep it from cutting somebody from reaching in there. And so, yes, we are getting there, and I can actually show you with the old Canopy that I keep dropping on the floor. Is exactly why I ordered a new one, because this one is getting the crap beat out of it. But anyway, with the Canopy on that, it looks right. And when the glass is in there and all the details are in there, it is going to be one beautiful airplane. So that does look right. And I might have to do a couple little colorful details in that, but this is just as what we're at. And again, the lineal actuators and other things that are going in there will be in. And just so you guys do know, I did epoxy this down to this part, which was made out of the frame on this thing is 3/32 balsa, and then I built it, and I used the original framing members on it from the early parts. I used all of the frames that you're looking up there that came up from the original, and I used those. I just cut them, I sheeted around them, and then I actually cut them in to where they were supposed to be cut off of, and then I added the base, which I've shown you guys, and it's just, it's just harder than nail, but anyway, it's just one of these deals. And to keep it from doing this, we will be putting in a couple guides, and that is something that I will show you guys. Again, there will be some guides that will go into this that will be that will go over the edge of this, and those will be my actual guides. But as you can see, I've got some sanding to do to true this all up, and I got to do that on both sides. So, and I waited to do that on purpose so that I could actually get this and actually make these two pieces that will come down in here. They will keep it straight, okay? And it's not a major issue on a lot of things. It does fit. It will, once it's done and it's all sanded out, it will fit nicely. I'm trying to keep that just slightly under, maybe not that much, but I will correct any of these things, make any adjustments I need to do. I'm trying to keep everything as light as possible, but I'm not trying to keep it so light that it's stupid. So Anyways, enough for this one for now. I'm gonna get back to work, and then I'll show you what I do to keep the rocking and rolling out of there, because it can't be overly tight. You just can't do it that way. So when it does come in, there will be 2 pins that will lock it down, that will come through here, and they will drill into this. There will be 2 pins, and there will be 2 guides, just like the real one does, that will come and roll over, and I may even make them out of a piece of aluminum and actually screw them in there. And that's why these are here, because these actually get carved out. They'll get sanded down and carved out, and then there'll be another piece that glues on and actually hooks under there. So we'll get to that, and that is my guide. And when it goes and it pushes from the center, they will just naturally go to where they need to be. So we will get this all sanded out, and once I'm done here, we'll start prepping for the cockpit. And this is all just stuff that just needs to be done as it can be done, and no drama with it. So as you can see, I think we're pretty well locked in. I might even, you know guys, now I've looked at this, I may even put some L channel right in here and actually cut that in with the Dremel. Now I look at it and actually get that to actually pull those in there and make the guides kind of scale looking, if I can do that. And I will investigate that further. Maybe I can do that with some plywood and just channel it in there. Cut a groove in here, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna put some plywood channel across in here all the way back into here. I'm just gonna cut a channel through the top here, epoxy it in, and it'll have to go like that. That'll work fine. Anyway, that's what I'll do, and then maybe we'll dress it up with some flight metal or something, make it look even cooler. So, and I have some up there. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the funny papers.